of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Any comments from the assembly?
Actually, I have one. So I just was wondering if there was any plans at all to hold a meet the candidates night. I think that I know I've gotten some folks that have asked, me opinions of what is happening. And so they were actually requesting an opportunity to get to meet some of the candidates. And I didn't know if that was anywhere on the agenda, or
We've never had one.
is that something that you guys would be opposed to initiating? If someone in the community wanted to do that, could they do it here?
That'd be up to the candidate.
Okay. Okay.
Anyone else? Okay, correspondence. Okay, we have draft resolution for video recordings. We're pushing that off again. Draft policy for public township meetings. Not everyone got a chance to review that. Ratifying bonding application supplemental letter. So everything's good to go with that, correct? Just need a motion to.
Yeah, I think what the Shorty requested was additional information from the township to get the new treasurer bonded. And so, for the sake of not going without a bond, the letter was sent before this meeting. So it's an April 16th letter that you should authorize or ratify having been sent to the insurance agent.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Have a motion and a second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Authorized signature for bond release letter. Well, is that one and the same? They both went together, or is that a separate?
It's a separate issue that I would recommend that you just hold off on for now. What this does is essentially cancels the prior bond. And so usually that's done annually at or about this time after you receive the audit from the prior year, so you know that there's no issue with the prior year's audit. And of course, I'm not suggesting that in the first 3 months of this year that an issue has arisen. But it's conceivable that if you waive this at this point in time, and then the audit comes out later, this time next year, you wouldn't be able to file a claim to cancel the bond. The advantage of doing this is you get some of your premium return for a regular amount.
Okay.
So if you don't mind, I would suggest you put this on the agenda for April, and then this is something I can follow up with Joan and your agent about, just to make sure that all the i's are dotted and t's are crossed.
We'll push it to May.
Yeah.
Okay, and treasurer's report, he's working on getting that over, or? Okay.
Yes, I called their office today.
Okay, dissolution of Tri-County Heritage Society, Hay Creek Society to discuss. And
That's us.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Mark Sir. I'm the Executive Director at the Hay Creek Valley Historical Association. Tonight I brought our President, Juliana Flora, and actually our Vice President is here as well, Gary Kurtz. So basically, we just wanted to kind of just let you know that we have taken over the Tri-County Heritage Society as of today, right, Calvin? Okay, everything is kind of taken care of then, and basically, we want to make sure that we work with you guys and work with preserving our local history. So I guess there's some confusion as far as some of the things that you're storing and whatnot. And I guess at some point we would like to be able to get like some type of inventory and kind of go from there. I think I heard something about maybe Morgantown would start possibly start a historical association. I kind of heard a little bit of rumor about that. I would, I know a lot of these local historical organizations really struggle, and we kind of hate to see another one get out there into the community where it's going to struggle, and we would like to kind of be able to kind of work with everybody and make, make it make it one good organization, more or less.
Okay, I
So-
think there was a concern that some of the stuff someone said about belonging here in Morgantown, I don't know
Okay.
what it was. I guess they're concerned that things are gonna just start moving out of town.
Yeah, we have no intent of moving anything out. In fact, we do not have storage in other areas, so we would love to be able to leave it here, kind of maybe make it a Morgantown collection that would be stored over here. I mean, we would love to be able to work towards even getting more items from, the history of Morgantown to keep here too. So that's kind of what we're looking at. I don't know if anyone's ever been over to the location of the Tri-County Heritage Society, but that building's pretty full already. So, we kind of need to go through there and get a good grip on what's happening over there as well. And then we're gonna open up more to the community and have the community be able to come over there and utilize, that building even more.
Okay,
So-
so you're still gonna keep stuff here, you're not looking to uproot everything and not
Oh,
have anything
definitely
in
not,
Morgantown?
definitely not. No,
I
we
think
do
that
not
was
have
one
room
big
for it.
concerns.
Nope.
Were there any other concerns that you remember someone might have mentioned, or?
That was the big
Terry?
concern.
I think that was a
That
big
was the
one.
biggest one.
Okay.
We just
Yeah.
wanna make sure we know what's here, and then what belongs, I know there's certain things that belong to other historical societies or that belong to other places. When we can figure that out and then work with you to make, to maybe even make a changing, display or, things like that. I mean,
Okay, did they have it marked what belonged to other historical societies, or?
We don't know exactly as far as did Tri-County have things properly marked as far as what belonged to Tri-County?
Will you be
I
working
think-
with Jerry?
I don't
Or
know if
you
I'm
work with Jerry
understanding
Brady,
the
because I think he knows a lot of this, just
Okay.
knows what.
And I know some of the things out here do say property of Tri-County, which is kind
Okay.
of obvious, those
Right.
things, but.
Okay,
Most of the stuff upstairs I don't think says anything.
okay.
I think some of the things they're talking about, going to other historical societies, have to do with paper, not objects.
Mhm.
So if there's a collection that is earmarked that it would better serve another historical society, that's the sort of thing that they were gonna get together and decide where it should go. So it's nothing that it actually pertains to Morgantown or this area would be leaving.
Okay. Did anyone in the audience have any questions or concerns they want to bring up now? Nothing? Okay.
I mean, we've been working with Tri-County since 2018, helping them with, coming up with a solution of what would be best. And, at the time, our main priority was, we didn't wanna see their collection being split up and lost throughout the community. We wanted to
Your
keep
best
it.
bet is to get Jerry, and he can take you on a tour.
Oh,
here.
definitely.
He can tell you everything.
Okay, that's right.
He has the entire
Okay, all right, thank you.
All right, thank you.
I would really encourage the board to get that inventory developed, and who owns what, for the sake of insurance and liability in case something were to happen to it. We really need to know.
Okay, so basically that would have to come from them working with Jerry to get that inventory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, and would that be a problem getting us a copy of it once you're
No,
completed?
not at all.
Okay. Okay, complaint form received, Twin Valley Road runoff.
I'll touch on this only because of the fact, Keith and I went out and took a look at this. It's right at the Hidden Farms development, right closest to Joanna Legion, right at that location. What the complaint is saying is that the water is dumping out, and I'm assuming flooding his property. We have.
Can you bring that, put that picture up?
So it's closest to the Legion, not up by the development that goes into the.
No, it's.
Well, it's where the
that
development comes out, but
Okay.
the thing that we're dealing with is that Route 82 is a
Which
state
one is
road,
it,
so it's not ours.
Hidden Farm, I don't remember which one.
Not two Hidden Court,
Yes,
okay.
Is that the old Banner property? Is that what
Pike,
yeah.
Pikes, Hidden
Across
Farm.
the street from that.
That doesn't look like the right, well, yeah, that's the one we can't, that I took sideways.
Nice.
Scroll down to the next one,
Yeah.
This one?
that's the one. that-
So the pipe that you see on the right-hand side comes out two inlets that are at the end of the street where Hidden Drive goes out into 82. The pipe on your left comes out of the stormwater basin that's over overgrown that we sent a letter out to the homeowner a year ago. I don't even know how long,
Yeah, that was
it's been a
last
while
year.
ago. He was supposed to maintain the basin. From what we understand, he's reached out to Tri-County Landscaping to mow it, but nothing's been done. The outlet pipe in the basin itself is actually, the grade is higher than the pipe, so the basin backs up. Now, what the complaint is saying is that water's coming out of this and dumping across the street, but what you're seeing right here is located in the PennDOT's right of way. It's not a township right of way because it's a state road. I know Keith said he didn't reach out to PennDOT, but the complainant reached out to PennDOT. PennDOT said it was our problem. I don't see that it's our issue, other than the basin, the outlet structure, and where the swale is located is a PennDOT swale, so.
So they're probably out of the town, out of the PennDOT right away too. That's all gonna be private, which, again.
Well, why PennDOT right away's gotta be, in that swale's gotta be in their right of way.
It's not, if it is, but not by much.
So what do? Send another letter out to the homeowner? Is that gonna fix it if they clean that out?
What I would suggest is that we should follow back up with that homeowner about maintaining the basin like we had asked him to do in the last letter we sent to him. That won't necessarily correct this problem, but we can also say that, hey, we're trying to do our part of the township's end by maintaining this basin. As for the swale, I think he needs to reach out to PennDOT.
I don't, this is a sticky situation. I don't have an answer. Eric, what do you think about that?
We break it down into its elements here. The first element is if he's required by subdivision plan approval to maintain certain stormwater facilities, then you are obligated to enforce that. It doesn't matter if it's getting discharged onto the state road or not. It's the landowner's obligation to do that, so you really need to enforce the issue. Even if it means getting a court hearing, court hearing gives you a deadline for some action to be taken. We're not doing it really for punitive reasons. You're doing it so that hopefully the landowner can show up and say, I fixed it, or I'm going to fix it. And you want to create that motivator. Second, if it's a PennDOT owned facility, then you should, I think, be contacting PennDOT, don't wait for the landowner to do it. The township can reach out to PennDOT and advise them of the problem with their facility.
But the problem I see is that pipe you see right there is 18-inch. If you go about 50 foot downstream, there's a pipe that goes underground and goes underneath the driveway, and it restricts down to 15-inch. So that's a problem if you were to open that swale up. So I don't know who put that in. I don't know if Burke's Homes did that. I don't know. I can't answer that.
So in other words, you need to ascertain whether this aquaculture structure here is on the private lot or in the right of way.
Yeah, I think per the plans that I found, I believe it shows the structure itself on the property without taking some measurements to double check. It should be out. I believe it's outside of the PennDOT right of way, but where the drain is.
Well, for those of you that aren't familiar, this is the one we've had issues with it backing up, and Keith had to go out there and clear stuff away. So they had, an outlet structure is where the water goes out of the basin, obviously you know what I'm talking about, they put a plate on it. Now, what they did was, while during construction, they put what's called a floating dock on there. If you ever seen basins with a floating dock, it keeps the silt from getting into the water with it. Well, what he had done is he cut that away, and there's like a 4-inch hole there. There's a plate there, and I think that plate needs to be removed. We looked at it today, and I don't think the plate's really doing anything. So if he removes the plate, it'll help out, but the grade is higher than the plate, than the hole itself, so it needs to be cleaned out.
So do we start with the letter?
Well, we've already sent him a letter.
Okay, so we send them a letter.
They were here at the meeting and granted them a year to complete this work, and the time frame is in the later
Okay,
stages
so
of
we
what
have
you
steps
allow.
in order. What's this next step now that we used to with everyone else?
Send them another reminder.
You have two options. If your first letter was clear enough in stating that if you don't correct it within this year, we will take enforcement action, and you don't need to do anything further. You can take enforcement action, which would be the filing of a citation or a complaint with your DJ. If it's open-ended, that first letter, or if you want to give another reminder first, you can send another notice, giving them 30 more days to fix it, or at least come to you with a plan on how to fix it.
And then the action will be taken.
And then you give them that 30-day deadline.
I think we should check on the date of the letter, because it's gotta be coming up in a year.
They were at a meeting, they came to a meeting at the last time.
They're the same ones that want to put a pool in,
No, that's the next one.
the next one.
I will say that if we gave them a year, I think that's
officially trying to take care of that.
And you did the research, Eric, where it says on their deed, it clearly says that they're supposed to maintain the
There's
basin.
a note on the plan that talks about if storm facilities are on your property, they're your responsibility. And the deed references that there is a storm easement, which is the majority of the property, but it does also say subject to proposed stormwater easement on premises, so it's spelled out that there is, the plans do, two of the plan sheets have the same note that it's on your property, it's your responsibility.
I say we go forward with enforcing. I mean, we send letters out all the time, but nobody ever complies with this stuff, and then we just keep sending more letters.
Like I said, do we have to verify the date, since we gave them a year from the date of the letter?
I would verify the date.
I mean, yeah, no, as you said, verified. If we said we gave them a year,
And then
if it isn't a year, then maybe send another letter, but if that year comes up, I mean, if you say, hey, we only got a month or two,
send a letter saying
a
it's.
month or two to get this done, in a year, and we're gonna start enforcing.
Okay, resolution 21-29 for 3441 North Street handicap parking request.
This resolution.
Yeah, does anyone have any questions? I mean, it's pretty simple.
I do have one thing to say. Dr. Cribb's employees have now started parking here.
I noticed.
And walking.
Did we send them another letter?
Yes.
So that's why, because I noticed today when I drove by that they were all parked there and they were parked on North Street.
Yeah, I asked for that for the sheriff for employees, the letter that was sent.
So, I mean, this is still a good thing in case they need to get the ambulance in
Yeah,
there, or
yes.
they
Oh,
did
yeah.
before.
Oh, yeah.
So, and it expires in 1 year, and she can renew it with a doctor's.
We have a hard time hearing you.
What?
We have a hard time hearing you guys.
So
Joan,
this will
I
expire
didn't
in
hear
1
what
year.
Joan said.
Yeah, and Joan, we
I
can't hear what
didn't hear
Joan's saying
Joan.
either.
What did you called them, or what did you do? Sent a letter and asked the doctor to share the letter with her employees.
Oh, okay. So are they parking over here then, or they started? Oh, good.
Does anyone want to make a motion to adopt this?
Before you do that, I'll just point out, there's two drafts. We updated the draft to include some additional language about either discontinuing the use if it's no longer necessary, and then if she needs to apply for another year, to do it within 30 days, so that it's seamless.
That's all we have.
So make sure that's the one
That
that
is
gets
the one we have.
That's the year that I was making a motion on.
I'll second.
Have a motion and a second, all those in favor?
Uh,
Resolution 21-28, revised 21 fee schedule.
Okay, I think on your computers, I have the page that was changed, so the hard copies, it's page 13. Park and pavilion rental. Sandy explained we need to change the, comment, additional insured. We have to make sure that we worded that correctly for their certificate of insurance. And then we added a note for the park stage rental, it's $250 per day, which includes the pavilion area. For the office, if we start getting pavilion rentals, just the pavilion alone, I just want a clarification there that if someone rents the stage, they just get the whole thing and then there's no confusion.
Definitely.
Okay.
Is that what you decided on, or did you just want 3 separate?
Yeah, I would
We
think.
want the stage, and it includes the grounds.
Yeah, I think if you get the stage, I think that's right, that
You
it
want
should
the
be all of
pavilion,
it,
okay.
but if you can just rent the pavilion.
Okay, so that, yeah.
So that's why we set the check boxes for the other areas.
So when we get to the application, we should just, they should be able to check which one they want, which
Okay.
area, whether they want the stage or just the pavilion,
Right.
make it one application, but they
So-
could check what they want on it.
Yeah, so is it possible that someone could rent the stage and then someone else could rent the pavilion?
I
mean,
don't
Is there
think-
that?
I
If
don't
you're
think that's
renting
a
the
good
stage,
idea.
you
You
rent
get it
all
all,
around.
so yeah, that we won't be able to do that
Very
then.
good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Even if they say they don't want the pavilion, because then we're just gonna get into a mix-up,
Yeah.
and they're gonna say, oh, well, we want it now, and
Mhm.
so we won't do that.
Sounds good.
So the
And the fee
pending,
that we updated was the $250 for the stage.
so there's two pending applications, they're both gonna be at
Yeah, the pending, the new one is here, that
Yeah.
we'll approve, and then she's gonna get re-signed.
Yeah.
But she
Okay.
couldn't get them to sign the new because
Understood.
it was not approved.
Yep.
Okay, so do.
Do we have
we
$50
have a
or
motion for
something?
this?
They
Is
don't
there
want us
anything
to
else on
rent
the
out
fee
the,
schedule?
What,
stand-
yeah,
the
what else?
stands right now.
Okay,
okay, that, I knew it was something,
Yeah,
remember?
it was the stands,
100.
100.
The 100 is.
Yeah.
until the doors are fixed.
We haven't addressed the snack stands. I know Parks and Rec made a recommendation to the board.
For the snack, the side
Snack
building,
stands, what you all want.
but we're not
to
doing
do.
anything with that, so we can't do
Right.
that until
Right.
those get repaired properly.
Okay. And then we'll revise the fee schedule when the
Correct, we'll
board.
revise with them.
Just one more question on that, so
Yes.
we had just said last night about the check boxes, and we said about the ball field in case we know that they'd have to get scheduled through MAA, but if there's anybody else that wants to rent the ball field, we should probably have, at some point, modify the contract for that as well, right?
Yes, so do we wanna wait till we get to that, or, so
Right.
the fee schedule,
Yeah.
we're good with,
Yeah.
unless, do
Yeah.
you want something else on the
Yeah,
fee schedule?
other than, I guess, if you're gonna do the ball field, there probably should be a fee for the ball field.
Yeah, there is. That's.
I just thought you could make the contract all one, but if you need to do that later, cause I know we have the two
Yeah,
pending
this
that
is
need to
just the
get taken
schedule
care
for
of.
the fees that we need to approve, and then the application will be next.
Okay,
Yeah,
sorry.
The ball field is on the fee schedule somewhere, cause, we really don't get rentals for that. I think the
Okay, well,
board-
since we're talking about this, the
Yeah.
ball field has always been MAA's responsibility to schedule.
Yep.
So were they ever renting it out and they were taking in money, or were they just scheduling?
Well, they used to rent it out back when they did softball tournaments, but
Okay.
I don't think they've done that in a long time.
Okay, so I guess their
So the
question
tournaments
is,
they had was the league tournaments.
But still went through MAA though.
right, everything always went through MMA, they always had priority and they were do the scheduling. We never got involved in that, but I
Right.
didn't think they were taking any money in
Yeah,
for
it
it.
was the end of the year of their league,
Okay,
that's what the tournament was.
so Terry's question is, when someone wants to rent the ball fields, do they still go through the MAA?
We thought that
They
they,
have to, just to make sure that.
For schedule, just for
Sure.
scheduling,
Right.
Right.
Scheduling.
okay.
that makes
And
sense.
Page 14 says that if they wanna rent it, they, the public, general public, it's $400 per day. And so, plus a security deposit of $1,000, which is refundable. So the few inquiries that I received to rent that field, they're.
Right, I mean, the public can go use the field, they don't have to, as long as the ball game's not going on. I mean, so if you have a family picnic, I mean, people used to just show up, and we used to show up with family and just go play, cause no one's there. We're talking about events that they wanna
Right.
schedule.
Right.
Well, especially if they're gonna be making money doing tournaments or something
Right,
like that, I
right.
think that's probably why that was put in there.
So, yeah, the public doesn't have to pay that, I mean, they can just show up and play ball if no one's scheduled to use it.
Well,
We're
I'll
talking
let you
about
all know
anyone
if someone
extra.
inquires, how about that?
Okay,
Okay, fair enough.
okay, so do we have a motion for this schedule?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Motion is second, all those in favor?
Uh,
Aye. Okay, revised park agreements.
One question,
Yes.
why is the deposit so high, the $1,000? How do we come
Well,
about
that's
that?
for events. That would be, I don't know where it came from, it's just been in there.
And it's been a long time.
Well, that is high, but my guess is if they have an event there and they go out there and tear that field up,
Right,
what's it
they can
gonna
do some
cost to
damage.
repair it?
But we
So they wanna
they have
make-
to give insurance though, don't they?
They do, but I'm sure that, you know what I mean, the MAA wants to make sure that
Deposit
they
might make them
they
not
have
wanna
the
rip it up.
funds to take care of it in that event.
They destroyed the whole facility in the history when they came in.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they have deductibles and so.
You were paying maintenance staff to tend the bathrooms, there were trash cans, there was just, I mean, it was a whole hearty
So
destruction.
So I
basically,
think
past
that-
usage
when the softball
brought this to
tournaments, right.
1,000.
Yeah.
I think that fee schedule was set up for good reason, I would
It
believe.
was set up for good reason, but the guy, they were held private, they weren't done through the township. I do believe that your MAA Legion right now is planning, tentatively scheduling or looking at doing tournaments as a fundraiser. I told them they should see you before they confirm that.
And that's where,
It's in the contract that they have to get approval for that
Yeah.
from you guys.
okay,
Good.
all right. Any other questions?
I think we should
Okay.
look at that at some point.
I would
Well,
think
we-
if they had a $500 deductible, and then also the deposit of $500, we'd be covered, you know what I mean?
Right, but you never know, I mean, I have a $5,000 deductible.
And then deposit 5,000,
No.
you know? And if it's left the
We
way
should
it
probably
is-
look, we'll see what happens this year, how it goes, and then we'll revise it for the beginning of the year, we'll go over it. Is that all right with everyone? Keep it the way it is, I mean,
For now, yes.
all right, park usage permit agreement. We have in there the grilling food prohibited within 30 feet of the stage. No alcoholic beverages.
So if somebody rents it for a wedding, they can't have alcoholic beverages, just curious.
Not in the park.
Got it.
I don't.
What do you
that's just-
consider the park? The playground?
Pavilion.
Well, it's a park usage permit.
And the stage.
I mean, do you want people drinking at the ball field? I mean,
I'm just
If it's a
curious, I'm just
We
was
have-
curious
we
if
have
there was a
alcohol
wedding.
carnival,
Yeah.
So that's part of the park. We've had alcohol the last 4 years, 3
But
years.
that was voted on, wasn't it? Didn't you bring that
Well, I
before
did
the
bring
board?
it, I
got
did bring it
voted
before
on?
the board, yeah.
So I think that if they wanna have alcohol, that may be something that should be brought before the board, so we're.
So then you can
aware of it.
revise their particular agreement if they need, yeah.
Correct.
I mean, it's one
Makes
thing
sense.
if the township sponsors something, there's alcohol there. If you're renting out the park, I mean,
Yeah, but then you
People
gotta have
drunk,
liquor
you get
liability
buildings
too
burning.
with your
Yeah.
insurance.
I
You
mean,
gotta
that's-
have liquor
yeah,
liability
I know.
saying.
Well,
yeah, I
It
know.
all
If you're
depends.
serving it.
If you have microbrews like we do, they have all that stuff. The only way you'd have to do to deal with that is unless you deal with like, you sell regular beer like Coors or Miller or Bud. But microbrews have a totally different liquor license, which blows my mind, but hey, they're legit.
But I think that if somebody's gonna have liquor there for an event, that might be something that we want to come before the board. And at least
But it
know
should
that
be
it's
spelled out
happening,
that way.
when
Yeah.
it's happening.
Right, because
Cover
it's
your-
contracts
wouldn't
for
have
both, it's individuals or
something.
leagues or
Microbrew.
anyone else. Groups.
I don't know, I think the only place you really wouldn't want the beer would be in the playground. I mean, as for the park, I don't think you really, cause you're right, if someone rents it out, the stage out for, a band or something, and they wanna have beer, I mean, you're saying you can't have beer there, that might be like the,
You really
Not
want
saying
beer
that,
around
all
the
we're-
stage there, though.
All we're saying is
Yeah,
come
well,
to
they
the
got
meeting.
insurance and they got,
They
pay,
do,
but
they do, but I just think we're opening ourselves up.
Yeah,
It's probably good if that they come
It was a
to
community
each, for each
park, I mean,
incident.
people.
at least we know that it's,
Yeah,
if
but I
in
think
the
it
event
should
that
be
there's
spelled out that
alcohol,
way.
we know it's happening.
Yeah.
At least the
And you can
police are
tell them.
aware that there's an alcohol event going on at the park. That way there's no confusion.
Yeah. And that way people aren't just coming there on a Friday night to drink.
Right, cause it's a
Right.
public
Yeah, you're
park,
right.
and then people are there drinking, and people are bringing their kids, and I just think it's a dangerous game we're playing.
Yeah. So,
I
yeah,
think,
Other than an organized
Organized
situation like,
event.
right,
Why-
the
what's
organized
different?
event.
yeah.
exactly, but I mean, it should say it there, that,
Right, but
all it's
organized-
saying right now is that no alcohol, so that might deter some people. So, I mean, we should be, maybe a clause in there that says something, however Eric would word it, you know, if you want alcohol, that must be approved by the board, I don't know.
You know, you could have a sentence that says that, you know, alcohol is prohibited unless prior approval is granted by the board of
That
supervisors.
sounds
Okay.
great, that sounds good.
What if you just made it beer only?
I don't
Well,
drink.
by wording it the way he did it, it would
Yeah.
cover that.
Right, I mean, beer is alcohol.
There's one other thing that Park and Rec brought up, what happened to the no dog signs?
that's a good question.
We never had no dog signs, we had temporary ones made up for the carnival, but we never had.
There
I thought there was one on that.
There was a
one on
metal
that
sign.
sign.
There was a
That
metal
was made
sign
up
that
for a
said
while. I
rules
didn't
of
know where
the
that
park
sign
and there was
is
no
now.
dogs.
No, I don't know, I know we got signs made up specifically for the carnival, but I don't know.
The big sign that used to be like right at the entrance beside the pavilion is gone. I don't know how long
Maybe
it's been
someone
gone. It's
took
been
it.
gone for a while. But it's not there
Had the
anymore.
rules up for the,
Yeah,
There's one of those over at the top line.
yep, and there's
There
one,
was one up, yes, there was one towards the school board there, the scoreboard there.
there's one there, that's still there.
That's
But
still
there used to be one right at the, where the macadam walkway is, there used to be one right there.
At the pavilion.
I
While
don't
ago.
remember, I'm not gonna, could be, it could not be. I know it was on the agenda here for these guys to review them a bunch of times.
Joe,
Sure would be nice if
somebody wants.
something was said about, or put up over there about, this is not the place to walk your dog, because it's getting bad over there with dog crap.
Or just a sign to clean up after your dog.
Yeah, clean up after your dog.
There we are with those irresponsible pet owners.
Well, it's gotta be better since the sand volleyball court isn't there, that was really bad then.
That was cats.
That was the local
Oh.
cats in their litter box. Okay, so what do we wanna, Joe, you have about the, alcohol, so we'll add that in.
Yes.
And what do you wanna, oh, this is the agreement. So we allow dogs over there? I mean, is that,
There are a lot of people that walk their
Okay.
dog, I mean, as long as they
They
pick up
pick up.
after
Okay, so-
themselves, I
Yeah.
wouldn't see a problem with that.
that
We
doesn't
don't-
need
we
to be on
don't-
this agreement anywhere, you feel, we should address this when we do signs, check on the signs.
The only reason that we did away with it at the carnival is we had an incident one of the first years where, one of the dogs like started going after somebody, so we just decided, you know what, instead of saying no pit bulls or no, we just said
Right,
no
no
dogs.
dogs.
Unless it's a service dog, and you have to provide some sort of paperwork to prove it's a service dog.
The only problem that I see is, and I brought this up to Keith's attention probably 2 years ago, was people put their dogs in a little playground area, shut the gate and let them
Oh,
run
yeah.
around in there and play. They pee, they poop, they, whatever they do,
And
and then they gather them up and take them home.
Well, maybe there should be a posting, no dogs in there.
That's on the rule sign.
That is on that rule sign,
Yeah, I
okay.
think that's on that one.
Okay, so we're basically just missing a sign we need
I
to
think there's
get.
one missing from right at the pavilion, but it's
Okay.
been a while, it's been gone for a while.
I think we talked about this before, about looking into like a dog park area.
Yeah.
Maybe that's something we should look into.
That was part of the skate park.
Well,
Yeah.
Yeah.
we're working on that. Email was sent out last night at Park and Rec meeting, Cole's trying to get a hold of them to see if they're actually gonna use that, because we did discuss turning that into a dog park or
Right.
taking down everything else and just mowing it for now until we decide. And no answers yet from Cole.
I haven't heard from
Yeah,
him.
okay, so we're waiting, we're trying to figure out if they're gonna use that at all. If it's not gonna be used, we discussed getting rid of that over there and just mowing it.
Who we contact, the MAA?
Yeah,
Is that who we sent?
MAA,
Yeah,
And,
just make sure they weren't gonna use it for
contact
T-ball.
them, but
right.
okay, so,
MAA doesn't need it, because they only have one team.
right, so I think Park and Rec agreed that it should be just mowed over there, taken down until we decide what we wanna use it for in the future.
Twin Valley has a lot of teams, so,
Okay, so as soon as Colt gets an answer and finds out if they're gonna need it.
but I don't know if I've ever seen anybody there this year yet, but I don't go by that thing that often.
Okay.
Have they reached out to you to do anything with Phil?
That's
Okay,
just
so-
about grown over anyway.
Yeah, so we're leaning towards, we're gonna clean that up, get everything out of there and just mow it. Okay, so once we get an answer, we'll move forward on that next meeting. Okay, so anything else on this park usage agreement that anybody wants to update or feels needs change? Now, did Park and Rec get a copy of the SHIP, the updated one?
I don't
I
think.
didn't see it in the
so.
packet
Okay, so we
last
should
night.
probably forward it to Park and Rec to look at before we approve it, in
Yeah.
case they have input on it.
Yeah.
Do we need to approve it, just because we got 2 people pending to use the stage, do we at least approve what we have and
Well,
then
that's-
make another
yeah, that's the next
modification?
question.
Only so that they don't have to wait and be concerned?
Okay, yeah, I mean, there's no big deal approving it and then we make a change to it later
Yeah.
to adjust,
Make
With
modifications?
what we-
with the changes.
Yeah.
we added
I'll
tonight.
make that motion.
Motion is second, all those in favor?
Aye.
So then I think you mentioned making changes to the rental application.
So the rental application, we're putting on there,
I think that's on the park and rec list, which is on the agenda for later. I just, can we bring up now? They mentioned,
We mentioned the boxes.
right, the boxes, so,
Stage, pavilion,
Ball fields.
Well, stage, ball, stage, ball field, and pavilion.
okay, that be added to this.
right,
Yes,
yeah, the
you're
rental
right, yes, before we
application.
approve it. Okay, so we want the pavilion and then the definition of what's rented, well, it's just the pavilion, and then the stage,
Which is everything.
which is everything.
Except-
Well, is the field, the pavilion, and the stage.
Yeah.
Not the
Right.
vendor huts.
And then we have the ball field we want it listed.
Okay.
Then if we ever get the doors fixed, then we can talk later about those.
Right, so we can
What
add those
about, what
on.
about water? We offer water to them?
I don't think so. Do we ever offer water?
Well, I mean, like, we have water there now, I mean, we use it for the carnival, I know the barbecue fest uses it, so I mean, that should be something that should be added there as well.
That's in the park agreement.
And
So
then-
these two are kind of tied together. So the park agreement that you all approved, I think it's item 11.
But according to the health department, if you have food vendors, they have to have access to water.
It says
Well,
access,
it's in, they can
Okay, it's
have
here,
more.
yeah,
Yeah.
11.
Okay,
access to water and fountains and bathroom sinks.
okay. My computer died, so I don't know.
So yeah, that's,
Barbecue event before the carnival this year.
Yeah.
Well, they don't have access, I mean, right now, because of COVID, they don't have access to bathroom sinks.
right, we have a, porta potty over there now, and I requested some sort of hand sanitizing thing, so they have either a container.
Oh,
Or
inside,
sink.
probably inside the
Yeah,
bathroom.
I haven't
Okay.
been over there to look at it, but I did add that to it.
I noticed there were two porta potties over there, but there's only one now.
Oh, well, I called them today, cause Keith let me know there were two, so they must have moved the extra.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so now are we done adding to,
Sorry, so for the application itself, then do we need to make a motion to change that, to
Yes.
add those boxes? Okay.
we'll move, yeah, revise the motion to add the 3
I'll
rentals.
make a motion.
Okay.
I'll second that.
Motion is second, all those in favor? Aye.
And then I'll put these on Parks and Rec.
Okay.
Can we talk about the bathrooms again?
Yeah, we're gonna talk about them. Is that on your list, did you give us, about the bathrooms over there? Okay,
No, I didn't put that on.
so
the
while
list.
we're on it.
I
we
should have, I
discussed-
didn't.
They discussed at the meeting last night about just using that for storage. Is that right?
Potentially.
That, yeah, they were all in agreement,
The ones at the ball.
instead of having.
The ones at the ball
At the
field.
ball field.
I'm talking maybe the other ones, I mean, can we open that? I mean, Keith said all they really gotta do is open up, turn the water on that one, that's not like the one back to ball diamond. I mean, I'm talking not only for the barbecue fest, but even for the carnival, if we start pricing stuff, we'll go broke just paying for the porta potties.
Which bathrooms you wanna talk about?
The ones right here at the park, around North Street.
You want them open, we'll open them. I was in them the other day, they just did the typical spring cleaning and the water turned on. Doesn't mean I got time, I'm still catching up with mowing, but we can turn them on, that's up to you.
What do you guys wanna do?
I think we should open.
I agree.
Motion is second to open?
Motion.
Full time, open.
Well, how we did, they have somebody open in the morning, someone to close or lock them at night.
If they start getting vandalized and people are putting stuff on the walls, then we'll
Then
do
we
that.
close
Then we'll address that, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, didn't we look into locks that automatically do it, so we don't have to bother you guys to open a lock?
We did look into stuff like that, but everything's prohibitively expensive, you're thousands of dollars.
I can easily break those.
Now, was Clyde Smith bathrooms, is that the next one they go?
Yeah, we might as well hit that one now.
I got another quote from Molten Moore, which was considerably less, for $11.82 to remediate the mold in there. Now, there's no restoration in the, $1,100, they're gonna come in and clean the mold. We gotta throw a little paint at them, we'll throw a little paint at them. I was just gonna put chicken wire in the ceiling and not put the drywall back. And let a little more air circulate, so be it. Can't climb over and climb around. I reached out to him because $600 of that was disposal. I got a dumpster there, is that good enough? Can he put the drywall in there and save us a few more bucks? But that's where I'm at right now, $11.82 total. They're gonna tear it down, they're gonna clean it all up, then turn
What
it
was
back
the other
on.
quote with restoration?
34 or 4,200, something like that, I have it here.
Yeah, definitely that's the way to go.
Well, that's, 4290 was the other one, but that was double paint and a microbial paint and the whole 9 yards.
Okay, so before we go any further, Park and Rec discussed what last night about cleaning the bathrooms? Over
Cole
there.
volunteered to go in and and,
Oh, Colt volunteered to go in and.
yeah, that's what he said last night, he volunteered to go in and get the mold off the ceiling, and then, do we, then, there
As a
was some
supervisor,
discussion
I'm
about.
gonna say, I'm not for that, because if he gets sick, we're on the hook.
Yeah, we
We
started.
can't
And
give him
it's
permission.
cheap, that 1,100 is cheap.
He's not, he's not.
I think I gotta agree, at 1,100, I think we should just get them to come in and do it.
Okay,
mean,
well, the
that's-
next thing, okay.
And you think you can save some of that, right?
Well, yeah, there was a
If you
$600
provide
disposal fee, and I'm asking whether the
Yeah.
town, the dumpster that's up there, I mean, you're only talking 4 sheets of drywall, there's and some filters, I'm not thinking that there's a large amount of material here for
Probably
disposal.
And
at
that's
least
just
save
disposal.
400 of that.
So if you're 1,100 to save another 675, you're, I don't wanna turn the guy away because he can't make any money, I mean,
Right.
but at the same
No,
time,
he's not painting anything, or he is painting.
he's not painting anything, that's just coming in, spraying down, and then cleaning the mold.
Okay.
Well, maybe,
That being
so
said.
maybe for $1,100, he paints it, and we
Well,
use our
wait,
dumpster.
before we go any further, Park and Rec discussed turning that into a storage area, doing away with the bathrooms over there and using porta potties. Is correct?
We did discuss that,
And just putting vents in there, just keep it well ventilated, you know.
like put a door with the, I guess the doors need repaired or something,
The doors
so
do-
put a
maybe
door
doors
in with
vents in them,
louvers, and then you get,
metal, whatever, but turn it into storage instead of having the bathrooms there.
What you need is rain spots. You need gutter on the side of the building so the water quits falling off the roof and splashing up against the bottom of the door. The doors need replacing. I'm telling you, to get them open at this point, we're into $1,100, and like I said, I was gonna put chicken wire back up on the ceiling to keep people from climbing over or peeking over.
Right, but if they're not, if they're looking for storage, we would need to get them open, we could just
Right.
get it cleaned out, gut it, whatever they need to
we were
turn it
just
into
trying
a
to figure
storage
out
facility.
why do we have to have flush toilets when most ball
Right.
fields have
Porta
porta
potties.
potties?
And that was discussed last night.
I
So
say
does
that's a
anybody-
great idea, let's use it as storage and it eliminates one more huge problem.
And
So
you
we
would see a reason
financially
why we
and-
shouldn't.
Do we take the plumbing fixtures out, so?
I would think so, and the water gets cut off, but what, I mean, how do you get the water cut off so it's not,
It's just one feed on it, it's coming
Yeah.
across, the only, yeah.
would that be?
Is there any,
solve
does
that
anybody have
problem?
any reason why that wouldn't be a good idea? We could, I mean,
You
there
go
was
down
just a,
there, fall
it was
down,
just a,
and all they
dis-
have porta potties.
Yeah.
Right.
yeah, it was just a discussion last night that was
The
on.
only part of that that I would have any concern with is that was all done with grant money and there are grant rules.
How long ago,
Yeah, well, it's 10 years or better.
and who's gonna
Oh, no.
find out? I mean,
For now, I would let the fixtures in there and just shut the main valve off for now.
It's not turned on.
right.
Yeah,
they
no,
never
I
opened it
mean,
yet.
when you
So-
open it
But
up.
we do need to get rid of
There
storage.
we are.
Right,
Yes.
yes, yes. So
So
you
we
I would
over
say
the
let's go-
1,100 with
let's
getting
get rid
it
of the
cleaned
mold.
out.
I didn't know that they would build it for that long.
And
Yeah.
use it for storage, that's fantastic.
This was, Kim recommended this mold and mortar fellow, mold and mortar decontamination. He met me, he did it, he looked at it. If you're not gonna open them, I don't know, we just put the fixtures back. We have to go back in and rehang the exhaust fan and lights, because they're not gonna rehang them once they get done.
And what's that quote for?
1182.
To clean it out.
So
I'd say we
I'll
don't do
make
that.
a motion to do that, not to exceed 1182, because you're hoping that you might be able to get it cheaper.
Yeah. I would second that,
It's up to you guys.
Have a motion and a second?
though.
Then what are we gonna do though? Are we gonna open them then, or?
Well, let's
because
get it cleaned out and see what.
See what we
it
have,
looks
that
like.
makes sense.
Because there's other stuff that needs to be done, even like he said, doors gotta be put on and stuff, so maybe
Okay.
this year it might just be porta potties till at least we get the mold taken care of.
Yeah,
And then you guys, you're sure you wanna go and get on the grant?
yeah, we didn't have the full board there, Michelle wasn't there last night,
Okay.
and there was Dan, so it would be
So
nice to discuss
this'll
it with
give
them
us
too.
time, at
Yeah.
least get it cleaned out, and then it's still there, and then we can rehash that at Park and Rec.
Yep, sounds good.
Okay.
Then can we get the copy of the grant or something, so we can see what we're up against there too?
That's old.
How old?
That's old. That's
We'll
done
have to
very
dig
old.
through the records.
Oh, well, then we might not have it, so.
Okay,
It should be
so
there
it's not an
somewhere,
issue
it's
then?
finding it.
It should, okay.
Is the Grant Police gonna come around and
Right, that's
nab
right.
us or what?
I mean, I don't wanna say anything out loud, but yeah, I mean, I'd say we just keep moving forward.
They have. How much was that? It was over 10 grand, right?
That was a huge, that was 25,000 to refurb that, and it was ridiculous from the onset, because we had to rehab something that was already existing. And it would have been, for the amount that we used the grant, we could have leveled that, built something new, and been much better off.
Yeah, we definitely wanna check that, we don't wanna get into,
Or we'll have to pay them back.
yeah, we don't wanna do that.
No.
Yeah, but like I said, I haven't seen the grant police out any time ever. You know what I mean? So, all right.
Question about, Friendship Park then, for the restroom, so do I just keep the porta potty there till maintenance is finished with opening up?
Yeah, I would keep it
And
there.
then once
until
you all are ready,
Opened and,
I'll call Bond.
They just brought them, so they're here for a month.
Mhm.
yeah, which gives them plenty of time, right?
Yeah, give them a month to get them open.
Okay,
That works.
Well,
yeah,
we're gonna, if you're gonna try to open them, we're gonna try to have them open for the barbecue.
When's that?
15th of May.
okay, so I'll just keep the porta potty there till.
They're there for the month. I would
Okay.
try to get them on Thursday when nobody's gone to.
Okay. And then I think I missed the second on that one, sorry, probably need the motion. Jeff, okay.
What time do you want Matt closing those during the day, or in the evening?
Well, what time do the parks close?
Dusk. 8 o'clock around.
I would say the same time the park closed, wouldn't everybody agree?
Sundown, someone else did it.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, we're getting out of here for a while, yeah.
Except unless you have the event like barbecue, because those people,
Yeah, they're camping.
Is that just for the summer, not the winter?
the winter we
Just
close them
summer.
down and shut the water off.
Okay. Park and Recreation Committee, ordinance draft.
You had requested the draft ordinance. I circulated one late today. So I would certainly understand if you haven't had a chance to take a look and read it. But it is in your hands, and so I think if you want to just digest it, we can address it then at your next meeting. If you'd like me to send it to the Parks and Rec Committee for their input, I can do that now or wait. But there is a draft now in your hands.
We should probably forward it to Park and Rec so they can review it a while and come with to us if they see anything. Are you guys 5-year terms now? Or do you have a term?
Yeah, we have I think we have 5 years.
5 years, okay.
Mhm.
Should be five-year terms that are staggered, one each year. And there's
But
five.
currently, you don't have a limit of members, do you? You didn't.
We've never reached it if we've had it. So I really don't know that, to be quite honest with you.
Okay,
Should be 5, 7, or 9 members
okay.
under the law.
Okay, Park and Rec April request list. Okay, should Park and Rec Committee decide to host an event where we would potentially provide prizes, could we charge an entry fee?
Say that again?
Where's that?
If Park and Rec would decide to hold an event in the park, and they wanna hand out prizes, whether they're playing games or something, would they have to have,
I didn't find that question, I'm not on the right page.
it's on the Park and Rec request.
So
Okay,
if we have like a cornhole thing or,
Like games of chance, right?
not
No,
gives a
no.
chance, cornhole, like a tournament or a,
Okay.
there's people that ask about pickleball. If we
Just
did something like that.
Community they wanna do, it's,
Yeah, I don't know of anything that would prevent a fee from being charged for that kind of activity.
so anybody who would wanna enter, you'd have a fee form, and then that go towards the prizes and,
And if there's any leftover, we go for betterment of the
right,
facilities, whatever.
okay, so,
I think it's a terrible idea.
Aren't you the bingo person?
No, I am, but, I am, but.
Yeah, so what's up?
I just think that, you know, it's for, it would be for just residents, right? Or would it be for anybody?
they haven't even
Yeah.
discussed it yet, they first want to find out if it was something that they could even do.
Right.
Now they'll go back to Park and Rec and discuss, you know, what are our options, what can we do for the community?
Mhm.
And it probably wouldn't just be
Right, we
residents, it'd be whoever
Anyone
wants to
that's
join
interested.
in.
Like Honeybrook has pickleball tournaments.
Right.
Honeybrook has
Right.
cornhole
Well, they
tournaments.
can go to Honeybrook to do that then.
We'd like them to do it
What
here.
is
I'm just
pickleball?
kidding.
It's like a smaller version of tennis. It's like on a half of a tennis court. Bigger ball, it's like a wiffle ball.
Same size racket?
With
No,
a
I
shorter
think it's
handle.
different.
It's got a
Yeah.
shorter handle.
I seen someone put on Facebook, they were looking for that, in the last week or two.
They
Where
have it
they
in-
play pickleball.
They have it in Honeybrook.
I never did either until
Well, they
that.
actually have.
I thought we were gonna eat pickles, that's what I thought.
You can sign up.
I like pickles.
Keith, are you aware of an electrical issue at the pavilion?
I was after Joe shared me that
Okay,
picture
all right,
today,
so
so
you're-
I contacted Schweitzer about
Okay,
that.
all right.
We just happened to see it when we were walking.
And then how about, you seen the large mud puddle?
He fixed it.
Fixed it?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's awesome.
Is that
Looks
good enough for you guys?
It looks great.
There's all the-
All right. Creation
Thanks,
of an
Keith.
ordinance for Park and Rec, we have that. Add carnival to the events calendar.
Done.
Done. Okay, so everything on your list is done and answered?
Awesome.
Okay. Parks, Little Mate's request for stage rental. Date suit, everything's good with that, and we just need to get the updated application signed
Yes.
with the rates.
That's right. I think Parks and Rec usually go to MAA to confirm ball field usage. You all reviewed this last night.
They're not using the ball field, they're just using the stage.
Right, but for some reason.
We
like
checked
this-
last time with
Yeah,
Liza, we wanted to make sure they were not having any big tournaments or anything at
Right.
the same time. What was the dates?
June 3rd, because you all had, for Liza's recital,
Yeah, but Liza's recital is gonna have like booming music, like overbearing music, and I think that's,
They're competing
It's-
for
yeah.
sound, whose
Yeah.
was louder at the
Okay.
baseball game.
so we don't need to contact MAA just to coordinate this date?
I mean, we certainly can,
Okay.
we certainly can.
Well, their season gotta be close to being over June 3rd, right?
Well, they're probably into their
Playoffs.
playoffs.
So we'll make sure that she knows, we'll make sure that they know.
Should I maybe let Little Mates know too that there's that activity going on?
Is there something going on that day at the field?
Sounds like.
I don't know.
I mean,
You should have a schedule, I thought they
give
have
us a
to.
schedule?
that- There's a link, and, yes, so
Okay.
I can go
All right.
and confirm
Yeah,
that.
just check it.
Yeah.
Okay,
Otherwise,
if there is, can you let us know so that we can let Little Mates know? Or like, so that we can let MAA know and Little Mates know or whatever.
Okay.
okay, then we'll get an updated application filled out.
Yep.
Okay, restrooms, additional cleaning quotes, we went over that.
Mhm.
Police department, towing application.
Hasn't been mailed out yet.
Okay.
So-
Now you guys are supposed to take a look at the sample that.
There's no game scheduled per Kim on the 3rd.
That's good. So we don't have to do anything.
Yeah.
So basically, we just added this letter to the front, is that what you're,
That and, yeah, more or less.
yeah, I mean, it's simple,
Okay.
it's fine to me. Anybody have any questions on it?
I didn't see a copy yet. Was it emailed to us?
No.
No, okay.
Did you see the letter?
This one.
Yeah, that's good.
Is that the towing application letter? What letter is that?
It's just a letter, just that goes ahead of the application.
Okay.
Is that from towing companies or just our towing
It's going out to towing companies.
in the area?
Yeah.
Okay.
Terry,
So everyone good
Little
with
Mate,
that?
Liza, what dates?
You already approved the application.
Liza's
This is
6,
just a
7,
cover letter.
Yeah.
I have.
This just fills out the
Eliza?
application.
Right.
6, 7,
Okay.
8. It's
Alright,
Monday,
so
Tuesday,
everyone's good with
Wednesday.
that. Memorandum of understanding for
We already
review and
told her about
approval.
them.
Yeah, she's double
I just
checking.
got this back today from the school,
Okay.
so I sent it to Eric, in the afternoon, so I don't know if you had a chance to go over
Yeah, I
it.
reviewed it once, I didn't review the changes made by the school district, are you okay with it? And there's nothing
Yeah.
offensive in there to you in terms of your,
No, I didn't see
Really
it.
not major. why don't we just put it on your bay,
Okay.
regular meeting agenda then, and looks like it's ready to go.
check, request approval.
I'll make a motion.
Second, all those in favor? Aye. New computer quote. So we had a computer go down again in the police department, and that one came from the evidence.
It was the Evans computer. The only one we had left was the one in the chief's office, so we took that and put that in the evidence room. So whomever fills that office is gonna need a computer. But we spoke about, you saying, this quote was for the desktop unit, right?
It is a desktop.
And then, but the chief might want a laptop, is that, we talked about that? So I don't know.
So
What
we
you
should
guys wanna
probably
get?
just move forward in getting you a new one for, what, the evidence room, or?
Yeah, but, then we'd be replacing the desktop that was in the chief's office.
We would have to.
Right, but I didn't
We
know.
might wanna wait until we
Does
have,
the chief
to
wanna,
find out what he wants, whether.
oh,
it's
you wanna
gonna be
wait
a-
till we see, okay.
I mean,
Well, I didn't know, cause I know in the past they had a laptop. So,
I would think a laptop.
Nobody uses
I
it.
think a
yeah, I
desktop,
mean, that
a
would be.
desktop back there is
that's what we
great.
use over here, yeah, but I mean, the old chief would bring it home and, he'd
Right.
always have access to it, so.
So we should probably wait and get a preference
Yeah, I
from
think I
the
agree.
person that's gonna be using
Yeah.
it.
Back in the day, those, like desktops that had docking stations for the laptop, they were perfect.
Yeah, she
but-
has one, you have one of those, right?
I know, but it's outdated, they don't make them no more, right?
I forget, I got a quote for a new computer for my office, and I think maybe they don't do docking stations.
It would give you the benefit of the keyboard, and nice
I got my
screen,
kids brand
but when
new
you take it
Lenovo's
with
that
you,
are
you take the
Actually,
you know,
tablets
Yeah.
and
laptop with you.
laptops, yeah.
So 1182 for a desktop computer. So you're looking for a desktop for,
Well, that's if we replace the same.
That was in the chief's office.
So we're gonna hold off on that because.
Yeah, I don't,
well, I mean, you're down a computer, so do you wanna get a different quote for,
but at this point, we
cause we're down
stole
two
the one for the
computers
chief's
at
office,
this
so
point. Yeah.
whatever that chief is gonna require.
We're
Well,
not
we're
down a
one
computer
down
till
before,
the
and
chief.
we took one from the evidence.
Right, and we're saying we're gonna
And
hold
now we're
off on
down.
that and put, instead of putting a desktop in, we're talking about putting a laptop back in the chief's office.
Right, in the chief's office.
So we really don't need one right now.
They don't need one.
Right, I know, but we still need, you had two
He's down a
computers go
computer,
down.
right?
Well, we took the chief's computer, it's in the evidence room,
This
so
last time, but before we moved the computer,
that died too.
right,
No, so
so,
we don't have any extra computers now, we're at the
Right.
bare minimum
Right.
computers.
so we should be getting one.
And we still have
At least one.
a desk that is unoccupied, and we took that one a long
Right.
time ago.
Right, so,
So what about when we get, with this work, Matt, when we get a new chief and we're gonna get him a computer, we just get two? That way there's two.
but
Well,
can
you
you
can-
go that
I
long
think we
without,
can
can
get one
revisit this
now,
entirely
and
when
when we
you
get
get
the
it.
chief, let him pick what he
so
needs.
you're not in dire straits to get,
No, I'm just telling you that because
Well, we need a
Okay.
spare.
I took it
Yeah.
from there, so there is
We
none
need a
there
spare
now.
in case another one goes down.
right,
Yeah, we should
I
get
need to do
one.
that
I'm just
one,
thinking
I
if we
think we
get two
should
or
get,
three at the same time,
Okay.
it's gonna be cheaper.
yeah,
Not
but I
enough
don't
to
let
make
them
it worth it
down,
all.
they're
Like, you know
already
what,
down
though, in all
two.
honesty, it's
We're
probably
not-
better to wait because new computers come out every week.
That's what I
you know,
mean.
So,
Yeah, I'm just telling you, we're now down to, we can't take
Right,
it from
yeah,
anywhere
that's-
else,
That's right, and I
This
hate
is
to
no
see
more to pull
another
from,
one
so.
go down, and we didn't spring to have a backup here that could be used as full-time eventually,
yeah.
but.
Yeah, they just got a new one recently, so
Right.
they do
So
have
that
a new
won't
one,
go
but
down.
now the evidence room
Right.
has
Don't
nothing.
guarantee that, there's no guarantee because
well-
it's not gonna.
And Link shared that, this was a few weeks ago, that with COVID, you're not always gonna get what you got an estimate for, because they go to order it and oops.
Out of stock.
So if we can get it now, honestly, I think it's probably a good idea.
So then, but you don't need a desktop now, right? You would rather have a laptop now, or?
No, he's saying.
I'm just throwing it out there in case the new chief wants a
Right.
laptop.
Yeah.
Right, so we'll hold off on ordering one to replace that one, but we should get the backups.
But a spare one for you guys, what would you rather have?
Well, yeah, we are still down one, but we took the last working one that wasn't being used and put it in the evidence room to replace the one that just broke. So
So we would
Uh,
order one for you tonight.
What would
Would
you
you
need?
prefer a laptop or the desktop? What works best for you guys?
we use the desktops.
Okay,
if,
so that's what
But
we
that's
have
gonna
in
go into
front
the
of
chief's office. that's where that will go.
Well, you can have a laptop in there too.
Well, yeah, it can go there for now, but I mean, I'm just.
Yeah, well,
saying
just,
we
yeah, if you
need
wanna
it.
get one now, then that's, if you
Cause
can.
he's sharing the evidence,
No, the
No.
evidence room is not shared,
it's
it's not
not,
shared
you
computer.
pulled that totally into the evidence.
Yeah, we
Okay.
totally tore that apart, yeah, we did that.
Alright,
So you're
so
saying,
what do you want, do you want us to order one or not?
Yeah, sure.
I thought you were
Okay.
saying you needed one in the evidence room, but you don't.
They have
We
one,
took
they
that
have
one
one,
from
they
the
took
chief,
one.
the chief's office has the
We've
computer.
been tossing these computers around, and what I'm afraid of is something's gonna go down, and then we have no spares.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, we're out of
here
computer.
for 11, what is it?
1182.
I'll second that.
I have a motion and a second.
All right, as long as Mark from Links, as long as Mark from Links knows where to go with it, that's my.
And Matt, you
Yeah,
can put that
yeah.
desktop in the chief's office, at the other
Whatever
police
you wanna
officer's
do.
desk, whatever you wanna do.
But
Well,
Yeah,
yeah,
you
until
got it.
then, if we need it, we'll go get it.
That's
I mean,
right,
it's, you know.
okay.
Put it where you need it most.
Motion is second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that's done. That was painful, but it's done. Okay. We have resolution 21-27, carnival policies and procedures.
Everything's ready to go. The one issue that was left hanging in the balance from your last meeting was the required minimum insurance for the fireworks vendor. We checked with your agent, who responded just this afternoon, so it's kind of hot off the press.
Last minute.
That was $1 million, sort of, $2 million per occurrence plus a supplemental for another $1 million, for a total of $3 million. I think you
Yeah,
told me
I
that's-
reached out to them to find out what maybe ATF had a requirement. He said they don't have requirements. He said most of the other firework, display people usually get $1 million. International we use, they have $5 million.
Yep, they had an umbrella, so they're good.
So,
Yeah, so.
Okay.
there's your change, so I think now your resolution is ready. You already approved 2 of the 3 exhibits last meeting. Now you can issue the resolution.
Make a motion.
Second.
Second.
Motion is second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Pollution liability coverage update.
Alan last time had asked about clarification regarding that coverage, so the email that I provided to the board just basically says that you have coverage for cleanup at a limit of 25,000. You can't find any coverage for liability for others for either damage to their property or injury to their person, so that's where you might run into some issues. Liability if someone got hurt. So he's recommending this extra coverage for $560 a year.
And how much do we get for that $560 a year?
He said you got a limit of $1 million per, the deductible is $5,000. So, yeah, that's what you get.
So $1 million liability for anyone that would sue us for property loss or whatever.
If
Loss
the
of
tank
wages.
injury, it's the tank there.
Yeah, $5,000 deductible. Cleanup, your limit is 25 grand with what we have now.
Who wants to gamble? I mean,
You're up against the wall, Jim, to be in May, going into May.
Yeah, I think this is separate, sorta, it's an additional, so, yeah.
does that mean we get it for the same price we already got the policy for, and it'll ride for a year? No? Just checking. I know other stuff does.
I'm thinking it would be worth maybe entertaining that policy for the next year and doing a little research till you have to renew next year to determine whether it's necessary.
Is it required?
It's,
No, but you're
It's not.
saying that we have no, how much cleanup do we have again?
25,000.
That is it?
And a $5,000 deductible.
But no liability, so it's not
Yeah,
covered if
what
anyone
if
sues
it
us.
gets down to the neighbor's property,
Kids
loses
playing in it.
groundwater, yeah. Harms his children, he sues us for $1 million.
Yeah,
We're
so
not covered.
we should probably vote on it for this year, and we can research it further if we ever wanna take it off, but, I mean, it's minimal.
he says in his opinion, the only way to get meaningful coverage for a pollution incident is with this pollution policy.
$573
a year.
Yeah.
And it was never addressed before, so I don't know if there's things going on out there
Well,
that
the
now.
tanks are brand new, right? They're fairly new.
Well, they're 10 years old at this point. It's their double walled with cement between the two steel tanks. They're virtually indestructible.
Right.
As far as content, I don't know. This is the stuff the military uses to transport fuel all over the country because it's bulletproof. So, but I'm not an expert in it, and I understand the pollution end of it.
$500 is a small price to pay for all that coverage.
That's what I'm thinking.
I think,
That's not a lot of money.
We'll make a motion to add it.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Motion a second, all those in favor? Okay, Bollinger rental agreement.
Self-explanatory, it says one porta potty over at Friendship Park. Eventually, when John Birdie Park's ready, the board already approved put one over there, but we haven't done that yet, cause we still need to build a platform over at John Birdie.
Do we pay for one down the soccer field, or they pay for that?
They're paying for the one that's there.
We pay for one.
We used to pay for one. You have since changed your mind and not one.
Okay.
So we need a motion to sign this agreement for the porta potty.
That's it.
Somewhere I found a file, because we rent for the carnival. That's the same.
Can we make a motion?
I'll second it.
Second, motion second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Fire police requests. Okay, so. Ride to the End veteran and first responder suicide. And that's for June 12th.
I'll make a motion for the June 12th.
Second.
Motion is second, all those in favor?
aye,
Next one, French Creek something tour, is that Iron Tour?
Yes.
Iron Tour, and that's June 13th.
I'll make a motion for June 13th.
Second.
Motion is second, all those in favor?
Sorry,
Aye.
I missed it, sorry,
Oh,
thank you.
Next one, Morgantown Carnival, June 15th to the 19th.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Motion is second, all those in favor? Aye. Okay, Chief of Police selection process update. So we had 35 applicants. We have narrowed it down to 17 applicants, and now we're down to 4. So we are waiting for applications to come in. Are they all in, or are we still waiting? We're waiting for applications to come in and then set up the interviews.
So you haven't interviewed anybody yet?
No,
So you haven't,
no.
what we
It's a
have,
lot
you
of
have narrowed down to
applications.
4. I'm just curious, when you do interview, well, 2 things. We had talked before about, who's gonna interview, like all of you will interview? Did you think any more about having anyone else with you to interview? Or, you know, like a community, resident? We had talked about it a couple months ago.
I did not think about it. I mean, we're
Okay.
gonna have 5
Just
board members in there.
5 board members, and who will they be?
all of us.
Five.
That's
1,
fine.
2, 3,
Yeah, all of us.
how about Officer Mena? No? No other?
We didn't even get that far to discuss yet.
Okay.
I mean,
I'm just wondering, I don't know if any of our officers applied or not, but if these are all outside people, what will you tell these people when they ask where the last chief went? What will you tell them?
Retired.
he retired.
At 53, he retired, okay.
Well, that's not unique for a police officer. to be
But he's
honest.
gonna have record, if whoever you hire is going to have records of the budget what was budgeted and the actuals, you know, for the past couple of years, or whatever he wants to see, I'm sure. So how would you explain some of this stuff?
You know, that's what
Explain why he's not here anymore?
Why he's not here, and like all the, I had gotten a right to know, like all the legal fees that we spent. If he sees stuff like that, I mean, what do you think he's gonna, he or she, I should say he or she. You don't think, okay, but what will you tell him? He'll retired, that's what you're gonna, he or
He
she.
did retire, and that's it.
Okay,
I mean, I'm
and
not gonna
that's-
tell him anything we're not allowed to say.
Okay, I
He
was
has
just
to
curious what.
Information and just because he
Okay.
wants to know.
Keep in mind, police officers, they have like, their own community also as far as communication grapevine or whatever.
Yeah, they already know.
Yeah, they know a lot of stuff.
They already know everything.
They
Yeah.
know before we know.
And can I ask if any of our officers applied? Or are you allowed to
Can we
tell
keep
that or not? I don't know.
I mean, this is personnel
Yeah, when
information.
you start disclosing that.
No,
No.
okay, just
Yeah.
curious, just
But
asking.
it's over that.
Yeah,
Well, not
okay.
even that. I mean, that's a privacy issue that they.
And
it
when
is
will you
privacy.
decide?
I wouldn't put that information out there.
Oh,
Yeah.
because it's a personnel issue, confidential.
Okay, all right, just asking.
Are they ready? The bids are ready for vote, right?
We haven't, I mean, I haven't got them to Eric
Okay,
yet
so
for
you
the
have to
latest
wait.
one.
So you're gonna do it at the regular meeting?
I was just wanted to at least present it here so everybody can see it.
I didn't see it on the agenda.
Okay, so
that's why.
that's just for our review and then.
Yeah, I guess
Okay.
we opened one yesterday, the one today. Looks like we do the low bid for both.
Well, I
both base
didn't get
bid
that
and
at the end, and I didn't see it.
Right,
in the
yeah.
agenda.
Okay, apartments on Main, plans ready for signature. Okay, that's all we need on that. Okay.
Are these rental units or are they buying these units? The ones on Main Street there?
Apartments on Main?
Yeah, I was just,
They do rentals.
Sale.
They're all-
The ones on, oh,
The apartments are up by
The
the
apartments.
units.
I mean the ones right on Main Street that they're
Those
building.
used to be,
Those are-
yeah.
owner occupied.
Owner,
Across
not
the street, yes.
rentals, okay.
No.
All
But
right.
up across Beer Distributor, as far as
Those
I
are
know,
apartments.
those are apartments.
They're apartments,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, this is for across the street, right?
Yeah, that's what I thought.
No, this is for
No,
the
this is for
apartments.
the apartment.
It used to be
Oh.
called Morgantown Apartments.
Now it's apartments.
Okay.
They changed the name on us.
This Keith doesn't know anything?
No.
No, not for a while now.
Selena bought it, Selena's gonna take it.
Okay, do we need an executive session?
Cindy, there's some stuff from the road inspection
Oh,
earlier,
okay.
that if you have a moment.
Yes.
Joan, can you bring up those pictures from that Penwood Farm walking trail?
Sure. Let's see.
Oh, there is.
Here's one.
What are we looking at here, Keith, if you could,
That's debris, again, in the same spot you visited us before, Jeff, on the backside against the industrial park.
So people are dumping this here.
Again,
It's bad.
I drove it this afternoon.
Yeah, I was with, we drove down through there and it's really bad.
There's
And that's
No
on the
cameras
industrial
anywhere
park
around
side.
there? No cameras catching anyone coming in and out?
This is all behind the residence, there's no access to this is all the residents doing this. There's a
It's
stage
not,
where,
it's not fair that Keith has to go out and get a chipper from
Right.
taxpayers' dollars to clean up other
Someone's
people's
mess,
brush.
yes, because they want
And
to
this
pile
is
up
part
there.
of what we talk about in these meetings. Like when we're adopting a new ordinance or something. For instance, animals, we've discussed this for a year. They
People
can't even
abuse
take
it.
care of their own
Right.
debris and trash. How in the world are they gonna take care of animals?
the pictures don't show, but there's a mattress in there, there's a canoe hanging on the other
Oh my
people's
God.
fence at one spot. I mean, it's, I tried to get you a longer, I turned the camera sideways and, but it's just,
Do we have fines in place for if they're caught?
we enacted a no dumping ordinance and posted signs, but when you put signs, they disappear,
But we have them enforced that we can fine them?
Well, we
there's
have
an
no
ordinance in
dumping
place.
ordinance.
I don't know
Okay.
exactly.
Who's doing it?
Well, I'm saying,
It's
if we can
behind
get
their
that out to
house.
the community, and the
It's
community can
probably
behind
behind
their
their
house.
personal home, yeah.
Yeah, right.
It's not a stranger's house with.
All you
a
gotta do
dump
is
and
walk out
one
front and
thing.
get their address. I mean, it's,
You let your neighbors dump their trash in your backyard.
If they
So
do it, they're
chances
doing it
are
from the backside
it's
where
their
you
own
can't see
trash.
them.
and then when you have the people that want the walking trail and they can't even maintain the walking trail when all that stuff's covering it, so.
Right. Michelle, did you have something?
Question we had a while ago. Where is the walking trail? Exactly. No, exactly. Like, really, I mean, I've lived there, but people
So
don't
if
know
you
exactly.
go-
I know, I live there, I know. I'm
Okay.
just saying, in general, we don't have a map of the walking trail. And I think we were talking about that
The
a while
walking
ago.
trail goes in between the industrial park and the development.
I know, but we should probably have a map showing where the walking trail is on, so if we're gonna be saying, where you're gonna find this is why, I think it might be a good idea to
But it's not
have
just
an
the
idea.
walking trail.
They know it's not their property.
That's not
It's
their.
I-
township property.
Whether there's
It's
a walking
9/10 the
trail-
law
why
there
there's-
going
Whether
on.
there's a walking trail or not, it's not their property.
Right, it's not their property, it has nothing to do with the walking trail.
And they can't make the excuse that they don't know because their fences end at their property and this is
Yes.
well beyond the fence, so.
There's a level spreader, there's, on the left side of that picture where that tree is, there's a swale that runs the entire length of Penwood. And the people at the end decided they didn't like the level spreader, and they dumped several yards of dirt over a plenty of grass. I mean,
Now, there's trees planted in the swale that he's referring to there. I get it, they're trying to block the site of the industrial park, I get it.
yeah.
Bought a house
But
there.
what they dump back there is
Between
crazy.
Industrial park and.
Trees are one, small pine trees if they're taken care of, if they're taken care of, that's one thing.
Well, these are, some are pretty.
So, are you asking for signs again, or is that wasting time, because they're taking them down and stealing them, or what?
Well, they stole I don't wanna say all, they stole a large number of signs. I've posted a lot of street sweeping signs that I didn't recover. I've posted metal signs here that I didn't recover, but we have to clean, somebody has to clean that up. I can't maintain that walking trail. There's a day.
I
wouldn't
suggest we
maintain
get
it.
the addresses and we send a letter to them, explain to them that they need to clean up our property.
I agree.
I mean, we sent letters out before, if I'm not mistaken. I think we go down along there and we just send letters out to them. And if they don't comply, then we go back to our dumping ordinance. Because it's not fair for these guys to have to clean up everybody else's mess.
It's not fair.
The more they clean it up, the more they'll dump there too.
Well, you're not.
It's not fair to the taxpayers that have to pay for it.
I mean, we had a tornado go through, and I'll tell you what, we had a lot of people in this community stepped up, a lot of businesses stepped up with wood chippers, and we went around, we cleaned up a lot of the areas that were disturbed. Penwood was a big one.
Mhm.
I mean,
Along there.
we spent days in there with chippers, and that was on our dime. If it wasn't on our dime, it was whatever they donated, but yeah, I mean, this stuff we can't deal with.
And I, for one, 2 summers ago, there was people in the audience from Penwood who said that has never been cleaned up, it's always been an eyesore. 2 years ago, I was back there with Keith and his crew while they were chipping all this and getting rid of debris and trash and plants and you name it, Christmas trees. There was all kinds of stuff. So they can't say that he's never cleaned it up, because he has. I've been there and I watched it. And it's kind of disgusting if you ask me.
Okay,
Is that
so we in
swell?
agreement, letters should go out to the homeowners.
Is that swell part of township property?
Yes.
So you should put in the letter that they shouldn't be planting trees or filling it in either, it's not their property.
Right, that should all be removed.
Yep.
A lot of the problem that we're plagued with, that Keith and the road crew are plagued with, is that a lot of stuff has been left unsaid for a long time, and now it's causing problems. So by planting a small tree 10 years ago may not have been an issue, but now that tree is 10 years old, and it's big and it's starting to block the water, and now it's going into the neighbor's property. So, I mean, I commend Keith, because Keith's doing a great job trying to go around and correct this stuff. But when you start approaching homeowners that have neglected it for 20 years, now here we are saying, hey, listen, you have to correct this, it's because of you, they're having a problem with it. And I get it, but Keith's just trying to do his job, but we need to stand behind him and do stuff like this, send these letters out and get these people to clean this stuff up.
I agree.
There's no reason why they can't plant trees, but they gotta plant them on their property, not
Right.
not on township property.
Well, what they do, they plant them in or right behind the swale up on the side of the berm, so that it blocks the industrial park and the walking trail. So they can't see all that from their property. which I get,
Again,
I
put it on
totally
your
get it.
property.
but it's not their property where they're
Right.
planting these items.
Okay, so letters will go out.
No, you got a lot on your plate, but you can get them addresses, Joan, that we can get letters out.
I would just take the map of Fenwood and everything everything on that side of Quarry View,
True.
and just send it out.
Send it out.
Yeah, it's from one end to the other.
It's from one end to the other.
Equally terrible.
And it's not all of them, you're gonna offend some people that aren't doing it, but it's just an FYI. You not, but your neighbor is.
Agreed.
So
Alright.
now you're gonna approve renting a chipper to clean this up, we're going back there and clean this up?
No.
Or are you gonna let it go? I mean, I gotta push it, I gotta move it, or I can't mow the walking trail. Cause where they're dumping it is on the level part of the walking
Push
trail.
it onto their property.
Well, here's what I fear.
If it's not theirs, then.
Here's what
push
I
it on their
fear.
property.
So let's say they decide, kids, adults, or whoever, decide to have a campfire on that walking trail on a Saturday night, and it catches that brush on fire, and that brush is the whole
They're
length
already
of
doing
Quarry
that.
View. What happens? You can't get fire trucks back there.
There's already fire shovels down in there.
I know, that's what I'm saying. So here's the problem, now you're gonna
So
burn
we
houses
almost need
down.
to get it cleaned up.
Honestly, I think let's send the letters out and say that they're responsible. Put it back on them.
Okay.
And say, then if they don't do it.
Yeah, yeah. And if they don't
Okay, so-
respond, and we go in there and chip it, we send them a bill.
Not
Yeah,
to you,
I agree.
if I
I mean,
drag
no
it
sense,
out,
no sense.
So let's
penalizing
start
other
the,
people.
start the letter and then we'll move there, whoever needs to send in bills out, we go in.
We would ask that they clean up the area behind their properties in the open space. And if they don't, and we're caught doing it, we'll send them a bill.
And then we'll deal with that when it comes.
You should include the trees and stuff too, that they should be moving.
But I mean, we also should probably refer to our dumping ordinance and cite them too, because I mean, then they're gonna be like, oh, well, heck, township will just do it, they'll send us a bill, no big deal.
I would enclose the photograph, and I would enclose a copy of the ordinance.
Okay.
That sounds like a great idea. That way they know exactly why.
They know what they did and why it's wrong, yeah.
Did you
They
have
know what
more
they
than
did.
that?
The only other thing is I'm looking for some board approval, the Highcroft large retention pond, open space area. We've been mowing that since inception, and it's not draining. And I'd like to get Eric Great Valley, we gotta do something, because the more of it, the less of it I mow, the more wild it gets. And I was gonna bring pictures, and I can bring them again, but in the meantime, we get Eric and Great Valley involved with a little bit of,
What we need to do.
trying to come up with a solution for that.
Okay, I'm okay with that. You guys okay with that?
So this is a walking trail. This is a walking trail, that?
You need your boots, I mean, to get a.
Well,
boot.
why, I think there should be signs there, walking trail after it gets
They
cleaned
stole
up.
it. They
They
stole
steal
them.
They stole some.
They're probably in some kid's bedroom. So,
Walking,
He gets a chipper twice a year to clean that walking trail out, twice a year.
That's ridiculous.
okay, are
And
people
we
not, are
all
people
pay-
actually using it? I mean, that wouldn't happen if
You
people
really-
were
you really
using it.
can't.
After it's cleared though, do they use it?
I don't know.
They have, I mean, we've had people come in here and ask about it. Michelle doesn't know where it's at.
Well,
Well, because I don't go on it, because I don't walk out there. I still think we need a map. If I get a map where the walking trail is, I put it on my neighborhood thing and say, no, this is the walking trail. You know, you have one behind at your house. You need to clean it. You know, they're gonna be sending you letters if you don't. You know, if after you don't clean it out.
Do you have any maps
no, but
that
why,
show the
why
walking
are the
trail
people
on-
responsible for this if it's not their property?
They are dumping stuff on.
About-
we
Township.
do.
You think it's
We do.
them?
Yeah,
dumping
because-
it?
yes.
Otherwise, they're
Because
really-
it's in the
The cameras,
subdivision.
right, cameras.
The
Just
wooden
then
post,
email to her, she can put it out there.
Yeah.
the wooden posts that remarked Penwood Farms walking trail, PFWT, have all rotted off. They were only in the ground this far. They've knocked off, fallen off, rotted off. They're gone.
I saw them today.
Well, there's a few left, but trust me, that's
By
very
Penwood
few.
Drive, there's a couple, and that's the only ones I ever seen.
Yeah,
Well, I
so-
remember we brought this up last time, I know you posted something on social media and there wasn't a lot of response about it.
Yeah,
I
some-
did get some phone calls from people that had the walking trail on the upper side, on the southern side of the development, close to the mountain.
Mhm.
And they were taking offense to it
How about
because their walking trail
Please
was
keep
nice.
this
Well,
area
obviously it wasn't
clean,
referring
no
to them.
trash cans.
Right.
Well,
They
that's,
don't
yeah.
dump
They didn't want the dumping signs in the backyard, I think that's what they were
Yeah,
getting
but the
at.
grass clippings were as high as your table and almost as
Right,
as
I mean,
long.
We know what we're talking about.
I
Yeah.
know exactly what you're talking about.
But I just think just
Do we really
having a
need to put
map.
signs out that says, this is a walking trail, please
Yeah.
don't dump your trash and garbage
Well,
here?
I mean, I think
That's
just,
what I say,
just
or
have
put a
Ask
trash
that
can or
question.
something.
Well,
I mean,
then we have to put tree limbs and,
Do we really need to ask that question? Please don't dump your garbage on this
okay,
walking
let's
trail.
just, let's go back here, okay? I've been there for 22 years. I don't live anywhere near the walking trail, so I would never own near the industrial park. We didn't go there on purpose. But, okay, so most of those houses have second, third owners. You know,
It's
so-
in your deed.
yeah, nobody looks at it. I mean,
It's in your deed,
and
you buy
also
it.
as a neighborhood, I mean, we should know there's a walking trail. So if I get a map, I mean, I want you guys to do what you're doing, but I'd like to get a map and I can, and then I could say, okay, you know, when they sit there and complain, I'd be like, well, you have the map. Yeah.
we just discussed that, we're gonna
Yeah.
get a copy so you
Okay.
can post it and do what you need to do.
Okay.
Can you put one on at the beginning of the trail, like in, you know, put plastic over it or something?
Yeah, they have a
plexiglass or
tendency,
something?
Down there at your house, where it goes into the woods behind Township Garage.
No, I mean, there's, you can clearly see it's a blacktop path that goes over from Mill
I
Stream
thought there
over
was
to
signs
the
over
park.
there too.
Was there anything else you wanted? Okay,
Those are my two big.
So before we move on, there were other things discussed at Park and Rec. Reviewing of the contracts. We're gonna start to send the contracts out of the office here. What Park and Rec wants to do is review them by November meeting,
We have to have them to you before January
before
1st.
January. And if they have any suggestions or think we should have any changes, they're gonna recommend them at that point. Then we'll review it, go over it, and then we'll get these contracts out, signed once they're all approved. And that way, it's on a time schedule, it's here in the office, we have the contracts, we'll get them signed, get them back here in a timely manner. But they'll review it. Right, before it starts, but they'll just review it, and make sure they have any recommendations into us by January 1st. And then we can send them out after that. So that was their decision last night. And then, what else? Is there anything we missed? Background checks, they said they will get those in, they're aware of all those, and they will be kept here at the office. Did we miss anything else? I think we covered everything.
Background checks are only good for 5 years, got nothing to do with that.
Yeah.
But I mean, I just haven't.
It was shocking that they let them go 5 years. Why wouldn't they require that every year? But, okay. Okay, I guess that was it, so.
Well, I know that, one other thing you have, we had asked him to get prices on a truck. And, I think it might be a good idea for us to consider ordering a truck, it's gonna take a year for him to get it in. You know, we talked about this last meeting, his truck didn't make one snowstorm without breaking down. And we had the other truck too, that we were probably planning on selling, we ended up going back and forth between the two old trucks just to kind of make one snowstorm, isn't that correct, Keith?
That is correct. I was on Municipid today, with this microprocessor or whatever, this computer component that's hard to get, has driven up the price of these used trucks substantially, but it's also delaying delivery of new ones.
We still
Well, all I'm
shortage-
saying is
still
that if we
shortages
order now,
coming
it'll
too.
be a year till we get it, so we won't be looking to pay anything till next year, but if we get on the list now, at least we have it in motion.
If you get on the build list now, saying you stick with the Freightliner chassis, that won't get built at this point till March of 2022, and you wouldn't see it till September, October.
Do we have those funds for that vehicle?
Yes.
So last time we voted to go ahead and get the quotes, or what did we vote last time? I know we
We
wanted.
voted for him to go ahead and get
Yeah, we
prices.
voted him
Okay.
to go get prices, and
Okay.
he got some prices.
So now we wanna vote to go ahead and order, right?
Once we get the price.
I have the price,
I have the price.
well,
Yeah.
the quote I have here is dated, well, it's not really dated here, 2/24. The quote for the chassis itself was $84,865. I'm told to expect a $2,000 increase. Now, I can get a fresh number for your May meeting if that's what you want.
Close enough.
And the body from EM Cooks, the outfit with the snow plows, was an additional 84. Yeah. Trying to find it here.
Do you wanna order everything or just the cabin chassis?
Well, it's kind of a chassis.
81,718 is the upfit from EM Cooks. EM Cooks is recommending that you do that to try to lock in that price because again, the metals market is volatile. and they see
Okay.
price increases of up to 20% weekly.
But they don't require near that long to build the body, right?
No, they will probably order that stuff and get it in here, one with a signed commit,
So you're looking at 170,000, a little less.
more or less.
So you get stickers and everything.
Well, that's, it all depends on what the market does. It's, if you move now, if you wait till that build date goes out past September of next year, you're gonna pay another 4,000 compared to what we had here,
I would
just
say
a model year.
I'd get it ordered.
So we have a motion.
I'll make a motion.
One second.
Motion a second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Sandy, you
Yes.
mentioned about the Park and Rec last night. Brandy reminded me that we had to discuss about doing the inspections, park inspections in the fall,
Yes.
in September.
Okay, so, yes, that was discussed also. They wanna do a park inspection and then get a list of things that they see and get that over to us. And then we'll relay that to Keith, and then we'll respond as things are done, respond to you and let you know.
I think it's
what's being
also
done.
discussed that you should maybe just do a roundabout once a month or something to see.
I'm doing it once a week.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
I'm doing it once a week, but the playground safety people are gonna tell you that it should be done once a week and once a month. So I'm doing a weekly just to fly by and shoveling in under the swings and looking for glaring issues.
Yeah.
Those checklists that were in your meeting packet last night were given to you guys hoping that you would condense them into a weekly, that even if the maintenance department had to do it, I was looking for something official.
Oh,
We go down
okay.
through,
We
we
didn't-
check it off on a weekly basis, there's a monthly one, we check it off, and I'm putting it in a file, and as we making repairs, I'm documenting that.
Okay.
So if there was ever an incident, we've got documentation that we looked at it,
Okay.
and we make
didn't-
corrections.
We didn't know we were, okay, we didn't realize
Yeah,
that's what that was for.
That's-
We will go back through those.
That's what I was, when I handed those,
Okay.
gave you those, and I didn't, they're not spectacular or special, those were simple Google searches for park inspections.
Yep.
So you can change and flip and flop and do
We,
however
we
you
had,
like.
we had one that we used to use as well, so,
Well-
okay, we can.
You were gonna do park inspections in spring and fall, right?
Well,
That's what
they,
you used to do.
last night they discussed just fall, but,
Oh,
I mean.
they
Are you
used to
saying
do
you want us to
spring
do
and
it spring and fall?
It's up to you guys.
I mean, we can do that, we just need, that's what we were trying to come to an agreement on. What is it that you guys need from us, and what is it
I
that we
mean,
need
I
from
would
you?
think spring would probably be coming off of winter.
Yeah, that's
making
the
sure
important
everything's-
one every year, cause there's damage over the winter. But also in the fall, you probably wanna look at things that might need to be corrected to make it through the winter. You
Well,
know?
You're,
That's
you're
what-
gonna be looking in the fall because you're gonna wanna have pricing for the
Yeah.
budget.
Right, that's why we used to do it.
You're
That's
gonna
what we
wanna,
thought we did, okay.
that's,
Yeah,
those
I-
two lists
I
aren't,
would
they're
still
not
do it over the
special.
winter
Okay.
months though, because
Okay.
there's nice days where kids still use the park.
Well, for their inspections, well, it's whatever, come up with,
Honestly, if you
That's
did
what she-
it spring and fall, I think that would be best for multiple reasons
Okay.
for each one.
I don't think that's an issue, we could probably do that. Okay. And can I just mention one other thing, is I don't know, maybe this is already, Joan, maybe this already is out there, but is there a, like, when people are renting the facilities, particularly the grounds, is there something that's out on the website that people can see that? The reason why I'm even saying something is because I know we got an upset neighbor when we did the Christmas event, that she didn't know there was going to be an event over there, and she said the music that we had playing and whatnot was bothersome to her, so she would have liked to have known ahead of time.
I thought all that stuff was always advertised on Facebook and.
It was, and
the
she didn't see
website.
it, but that's why I'm wondering if there's a spot that's on the Carnarvon Township website that, hey, these people could go out there and look, and if they don't look, then, that's really, that's on them.
Yeah,
I
we
can't
should
believe
probably
that.
have
How
Mary
did
on
they
the
buy
She
next
website.
to
puts a note on there saying like,
If you
this
buy next
week,
to a park, I mean, you would expect that kind of thing.
Well,
You buy
Yeah,
next
but I
to,
mean,
you
but-
buy next to a
Seriously.
walking
You
path,
have,
you
the
don't.
Facebook, you have the
No,
website,
they
you have
need
the
to
sign
put
out
it
front here, I mean, where else,
I just can't
where else
believe
can you
some
go
of
with
this
it?
stuff.
door to door to tell them?
Right, no.
No, I just I just wondered if there was a
Events
spot that's
area,
out
do you have
there.
an events area on the website?
No, like a live calendar, we don't have anything
Yeah,
like
I
that.
mean,
We've talked
We could
about this
talk
numerous
about-
times, we're plagued because we're at the southern tip of Berks County, so where do you advertise, where do you tell people this? Do you advertise in Reading, do you advertise Pottstown Mercury,
No.
Daily Local,
I
where do you
wouldn't
go?
wanna put it in the
We
paper, I would just, like, on the
expensive.
website, if you live here, then you would know, hey, once a month, I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna look, if I'm concerned that there's gonna be an event, I'm gonna look once a month and see what's out there. I mean, we've got 3 events coming up that are really close together. We've got the carnival, which I know they know. but we've got the remix dance and we've got the,
Barbecue.
So in other
The
words,
fu-
if the
Well, the
music's offending you, you
barbecue
can
and
go
stuff
into your
we can
computer and
post,
look
I
and say,
don't
oh,
know
there's a
who
rental over
posts
there.
yes.
private events that they're renting, I don't, I mean.
Maybe
that
once the
for us to
casino
post
gets
their
rolling, we
events?
start seeing some
No.
income from
Look at that, they made $1 million already.
Like out here, over at the park, let them know what's going on in the park this week or this month, you know what I mean?
It doesn't have to say who it is, it could just say
No,
dance
just to let them
recital,
know.
it can
Yeah.
say wedding, it can, you know what I mean? Yeah. Rental?
Public
Yeah.
events, if they wanna attend, hey,
Yeah.
this is available this
I'm,
month.
I'm just saying, cause I know I was approached after, during the Christmas event, that
I
was
don't
it.
know how you answer that, because we've discussed that 100 times in years of living, you know, how to advertise, how to get people to know what's going on.
There's always gonna be people that don't know.
They don't,
Well,
and they don't look, they don't wanna know
That's the
something.
thing, I mean, even if we had a Carnarvon Township
We have
newspaper,
some of the bitches on.
somebody's not gonna read it and then complain about the music because they didn't read the paper. So, I don't know how you, I don't
And
know how
then
to
they'll
fix
say,
it.
I'm seeing your newsletter, oh, I never read that thing, yeah.
Oh, I don't have internet. No, I can't.
I'll show you.
Yeah.
Alright, yes.
Since we talked about the casino, they've made $1 million so far on their betting. So when do we get our cut?
Everybody goes through all the other.
I know, but I
stations.
mean, what's the procedure? I mean, have they communicated? Because
I don't even know.
That
if
all,
you know that.
all goes to the state first.
Yeah.
And it's like 3-4 months. before
yeah,
we
but
get
I'm
it.
just saying. I mean, do we have a process to?
I don't know that you get anything from online sports.
I
I don't
don't
think
think
so.
so either,
Statute is very specific on
type of
I
games.
guess, the
Slot
tax that they
Yeah.
pay.
Okay, I need to research that thing again because that wasn't a big thing when we got the casino.
Correct, it wasn't lawful. So unless they've gone back and amended it,
Yeah, I'll have to look that up.
you may not get anything.
I'll go call
We're
them.
gonna have a sporting,
I'm sure the state did something.
I don't know if we get nothing from that though.
We'll check.
If they have the, sports betting here, we get a cut of that. Like Eric said, it's from the table games and the,
but they advertise it as.
Morgantown Casino.
I know, but I
We do
don't
advertise
think,
on
the tax,
radio.
I don't think our tax is any of that.
You say something?
I want to say something.
Yeah,
Did you have something?
Yeah, I want to say something. How about I'm coming from Red Carpet in Morgantown. Behind my property is wash, like lot of my land washing, and almost 1 year. What's going on? I want to know.
We have an update on the,
We did send a violation letter a week or two ago to Valley Pond, there's, I believe, 14 or so issues they're supposed to be addressing.
so we did send a letter out, the issues to address,
There's 60 days in there.
they have 60 days.
60 days.
Yes.
And now grass growing also. I don't want to like last year big grass also. Okay.
Okay, I'm sure they're addressing that in the letter and that's, they're supposed to be maintaining that, so.
Yeah. Because I don't want a garden snake problem again also.
No way.
Yeah, no way. No way.
Now,
No.
they'll have to respond back to you, and if they don't follow through with the recommendations or corrective actions, they'll get a fine? It's that far down the line, or?
And they go to court first, the judge will go to trial if he wants to.
Okay, but if they have violations against them, and they're working to repair it or correct the situation now.
Now, what do you think, is that a water snake problem, is that, you call it,
Yeah, you can,
Is that it then?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
I just had a question or a suggestion. Are we able to revamp the website or just update it? That way,
What website?
the Carnarvon
Just
Township one.
Carnarvon. Okay.
That way-
I didn't know if Parks had,
Oh.
Rick have it,
No, Facebook.
you have it, Facebook. Okay.
Or even just for like the walking trails and like the correct dates and things like that.
Yeah, but yeah.
Honestly, we need to get a better website. Ours is designed old style.
Yeah.
It's very hard to work on
Navigate.
that website, right, Joe?
Yeah,
Make
we used,
changes,
yeah, we used to have a company do it for us. The issue-
Mastoff, I think,
The
did it,
issue we
right?
ran into is when you needed updates, you had to wait weeks, and we can't
I
do
know,
that.
it took forever.
So we have to get a whole new program. If you want me to get an estimate from Links, I can certainly do that.
Yeah.
Because a lot of
Yeah,
people, a lot of
actually,
people
they
look
make
to
it much
that,
better.
a lot of people look to that, and if
It's
it's
really
updated, then they
outdated.
don't come back.
If we
It
could
might
get
be something that would qualify as a use for the American Rescue Plan funds.
Yeah.
Where you can devote it to infrastructure.
Yeah.
That term really hasn't been defined, what you
That is
call
infrastructure.
Is everyone okay
That
with Joe
might be-
moving forward,
Yes,
checking on that?
absolutely.
Yeah, well,
If you can get with them, Joan, to offer us a site where we can have a site that's so simple, so easy to make changes that the different committees, their leaders can go in and make changes, you know what I mean? With the authorization of the committee, but, so they can make changes for Parks and Rec, or even planning, whatever, but you wouldn't have to service everything that everyone needs done.
And I'm sorry, are you? It's Brandy.
Okay.
I can help too with that, if you need me.
Is that it?
Oh, yeah, that's it.
Can I say one more thing?
Yes.
Sorry. So, and I know that I asked you this before, but, we were having internet issues, and so obviously there's not many options here. So I know that people watch this video, so I just wanted to say, if they call Xfinity, and Xfinity gets a lot of requests, Xfinity is telling people that they are not allowed to come into Morgantown. And I did wanna say that you mentioned that it was not because of the township. Yeah.
That's what.
All they have to do is ask.
Yeah. They use that as an excuse not to spend money to put the
Infrastructure in
in
play.
Because they don't have enough people, it's not gonna pay them,
So
so
we need-
they push it off on us saying you're keeping them out, we're not keeping them out.
So if anybody calls in, just, we should make sure that we tell them that, we realize it's not the township.
And people think that we get a payoff to keep Circle Electric here. That's a kind of misconception
Yeah.
out there.
It is.
And I try to fight it, but it's hard to fight a misconception.
Every few years when that contract comes up, I asked Eric, does this block anyone from coming here? And he said, no, absolutely not. But, actually, we don't have cable to this day at my place. You know what I mean? We have satellites, all we have available. No one wants to put wires through.
Yeah, I'm not looking for TV, I'm looking for internet. There's no good internet here.
One other thing that some townships are using or trying
We
to
don't have
use
this.
these American Recovery Plan funds for, is to establish hotspots for internet connection. You may have seen it in some township buildings where they, access for free with library.
Wasn't that coming around where they were gonna start doing that nationwide? Weren't they planning on putting one, I don't know, I know Scott Anderson was working on that, there was supposed to be one there by Sheets, remember?
That was the mini cell tower.
I thought it was for hotspot Wi-Fi.
So I thought it was like a boost.
They only do that in low income places, don't they?
The library put on, the library did a hotspot.
Free stuff.
I think that's probably another avenue to use money for.
Comments?
I just have one quick thing. I have, for the next meeting, I will have some revised contract for entertainers that'll need approval, so I just wanna let you know.
Okay. We have a motion to adjourn. Paulie? Jeff second. All those in favor? Aye.